In Fox 5 Health News, Good Samaritans may be reluctant to perform CPR on women.
All right, joining us now is Fox 5 medical contributor Dr. Devi Nampiaparampil from the NYU School of Medicine. This is interesting here.
It's very disturbing,
yeah.
It's very disturbing because there's a survival difference between men and women. So if we think about cardiovascular disease, this is the main killer for both men and women. And a cardiac arrest, which is where you do CPR, that's essentially where your heart, something goes wrong with the electrical system, right? So this is like if your battery's not working, your TV, something's not turning on, but the heart stops pumping, and as a result, you're not getting any blood flow to your brain, to your lungs, or to any of the organs, right? So 90% of these people usually, that's it, they die from them. But the rest, there's a chance of survival, and that survival mainly depends on how quickly you get CPR. So how quickly you get CPR and how quickly that blood flow is restored.
Yeah.
So if you think about the fact that if somebody witnesses this and could save a life but hesitates or either...
But why are they hesitating? Is it the feeling that they might be doing something wrong, touching the woman inappropriately? Is it the idea of undressing the woman to be able to get to her chest? What is it?
Well, that's what the researchers thought. So that was the idea, that maybe they hesitate to touch people's chests. I mean, some of it is if you know how to do CPR, even if you've done the training, these mannequins are kind of either male or gender neutral, maybe, right? So maybe that's a factor. But I think it's also just sort of a general feeling like, oh, I don't want to touch the woman, I don't want to undress the woman. But we have to get over that because it's a difference in terms of life and death. If somebody is sleeping, if somebody looks okay, they fall, or you ask them if they're okay and they say okay, you can still call 911 if you're not sure. But if they're not responding and they're really out, then you've got to start the CPR as quickly as possible. Don't worry about mouth to mouth. It's really the chest compressions that make a difference. So press on the chest about 100 times a minute.
What's the song, Happy Birthday? Is it
Staying Alive?
Staying Alive,
So if you do that one, so the idea there is you are acting as a pump. You're manually pumping that blood around to the organs. And then if there's something, like if it's a mall or an airport, there's something called an automatic external defibrillator. So if you can get that, don't worry about shyness or nudity or this or that. Better to kind of pull open the clothing and get those leads on, and the machine will do the work.
Gotcha. All right, some good news for dog lovers. A new study finds that your dog can help cut down your risk of cardiac disease.
I like this study.
Yes.
No,
we all know this, right?
Are we all three dog owners?
We're all
Four
dog
including
lovers.
Sam. Okay.
So, I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise to people, but dog owners actually have less chance of dying from all causes and also from cardiovascular disease. I mean, there's a new study that supports this. But the idea, I mean, there could be a few different things. It could be the dog protects you, or it could be that maybe healthier people get dogs, right? So, you generally take your dog out for a walk, so maybe more physical activity that way, which is positive. Sometimes, having a dog, you have more social contacts, right? We talk about all this research on loneliness, etc. So if your dog goes and plays with other dogs or forces you to kind of talk to other people.
Small talk with every dog owner. I mean, the big point does seem to be that if you are locked away, shut out of the world, like that has a real physical impact on your health.
Of course, that makes a big difference. I mean, there are other subtler ways too as well. So dogs get exposed to different types of bacteria. If you get exposed to them in smaller quantities, there's some ideas, especially with babies, that maybe you build a resistance or immunity to some of these bacteria and infections. So for a variety of reasons, you might be more protected if you have a dog.
Filthy dogs,
I'd be
interested
to see if you're healthier living in the city with the dog than you are in a suburb, because you actually have to get out of the apartment.
I know, this was done actually in Sweden, so we don't know.
Dr.
Devi, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.